Buddy to the Daily Space Weather. I'm your host, Dan, aka smAsho. We've got exciting stuff to cover, including Sunspot 2776 and some electronic anomalies. Don't be an electronic anomaly. Press like and subscribe. And we see an active region there in the southwest. And oh noes! OMG! It's spaceships! Oh noes! Oh my god, I found spaceships. Make sure you share the video with Gina Maria Colvin Hill and Mr. MBB333. They'll be very interested in our spaceship discovery. By the way, let's go out to Lagrange point 5 for a moment and look at the view from stereo A. We have some missing data out there around 1800. Right at 1800, between 1830 and 1820 and 2300 or so. Let's see, we got about 4 hours of missing data there. Nothing too eventful. Looks like it's really happening. Could be a CCD bakeout. And a lot of times when these devices stop sending data, it's because they do what's called a CCD bakeout, where the charge couple device shuts down to prevent itself from being damaged. And we've got some fantastic custom HelioViewer movies of the new Sunspot. And we see Umbre there, so expect it to be named today. It's quite large, as it's already easily visible, despite not even fully risen yet. Fantastic view there in 304 angstroms, and there was actually a solar flare happening as we did show prep today. Here's the same area in 335 angstroms. And we had a couple of B-class solar flares come out of that. The likelihood of larger solar flares is actually going up a little bit now. And again, it's a pretty decent sized sunspot. Here's the 171 angstroms view. Just a fantastic view of that. Sunspot 2776 it'll be called. And it's already been visible for several hours. The radio flux has dropped down to 72. And for you new viewers out there, the radio flux is the radio output of the solar corona, and it follows sunspot number quite closely. It's what we call positively correlated. KP index, a measurement of global geomagnetism, at 0 for the past 6 hours. And here you can see those little B-class flares, the last one happening just as we did the show prep. Again, likelihood of slightly larger flares has now gone up a little bit. Again, that sunspot is decent size. It looks like it's a little larger than the Earth's diameter right now, actually. We don't see any proton events. And again, for you new viewers out there, don't get solar flares and coronal mass ejections confused. Solar flares are photons. Coronal mass ejections are largely protons. And we see a flatline proton flux, no real surprise there, as we haven't seen a lot of solar activity. Looking at the real-time solar wind, to see a solar wind density of around 7. And that's protons per cubic centimeter is the units. And the units for the speed are kilometers per second, and we're below 300 kilometers per second. A very weak solar wind. Here's what's going on in the magnetosphere. A pretty weak magnetosphere as well. This is showing you magnetohydrodynamic pressure. And the units here are nanopascals. This is 4 hours of data. And the left plane is the equatorial plane, the right plane is the meridional plane, as if viewing the Earth from 90-degree angles, one from above and one from the side, I guess you could say. Next, looking at ground magnetic perturbations, changes in the Earth's B field. 4 hours of data, not really surprising there. We don't see a lot of activity, not a lot of apparent induction-induced magnetism. I'll go out on a limb and say induction-based magnetism, yes. And we watch it regularly as we're interested in the physics of things like the generation of Earth's geomagnetic field. Next, the GOES magnetometer, the GOES 16, showing us pretty spiky readings here. And Earth is actually in an indecisive moment for the past 24 hours, trying to decide which current sheet that it's in. I thought it was in the north solidly by yesterday, and it looks like it's actually still in the south current sheet, or in the process of snapping across now. If you see little spiked tooth patterns here like this, especially around noon, that could be an indication of sort of an overlap of the current sheets. Here's a line of sight field plot which shows you the B field in blue, the sun's B field. No major changes there. And that sunspot, former sunspot 2775, has been degrading. We see some very strong apparent coronal whole field force lines coming out of the south solar polar field region here on the coronal magnetic field plot. And this is a magnetic field plot of the corona by itself, something that we look at regularly here on the Smash News Network. And today's Smash Lights segment will be completely separate. It'll air after the daily space weather video. Please tell your friends and foes, science noobs and science pros, about that. We'll be talking about all kinds of stuff about current events. There'll be a HuffPo article. There'll be a Vox article. There'll be stuff about this governor. Jeez. We'll talk COVID a little bit. We'll even talk about cosmology a little bit, as we like to do cosmology segments. In fact, the daily space weather is largely a cosmology segment. And we're quite interested in the physics of the sun, and that's part of the reason why we make the videos. Don't be a hack. And if you're a content creator, don't take reach-arounds from inappropriate parties. Don't forget to check out smashomash.com/forum. We're also on Facebook. We'll talk about minds and memes and streaming live to Twitch, which we do on the regs. In fact, we're doing it right now, thanks to our followers over there. Please rebroadcast our content. Don't forget to press like and subscribe over on YouTube as well. Otherwise, the place might burn down, and we would never want that to happen. The Smash News Network also regularly uploads to BitChute. There is some exclusive content there. Check it out. Again, Smash Lights will air after this. Check out our playlists also on YouTube. It's youtube.com/smashomash/playlists. And let's get back to some spaced out data. We're going to look at some electrons now. We see some anomalies. So we see a cratered overall levels of electron flux here. And you can see that 1 year chart there is quite interesting. We don't see charging hazards. NOAA is forecasting a slight increase in the electron flux. And here you can see how cratered it's been over the past 3 days. Very low levels of electron flux there. But we also see anomalies. So if you look over North America here, you'll see these blobs of electron flux. This is the total air content all the way from the thermosphere down to your GPS handset. And I'll let that play through a second time. Again, notice North America. We see some significant nighttime electron anomalies there. Typically, the largest GPS errors do occur around the equator at noontime. For obvious reasons, there's this thing called the sun, sending all kinds of frequencies. Next, looking at the ionosphere, and it's quite anomalous here. We see heavily charged up ionosphere in the southern hemisphere, as it is spring down there. And we see sudden charge ups and charge downs over the past 24 hours here. anomalous ionosphere. And also we do see a lull in earthquakes. So again, we are experiencing an ongoing drought of 7, 8, and 9 magnitude earthquakes. Here's the current image of the ionosphere. I believe there is some sort of connection, probably. And again, keep in mind, this is the total air column, and we're looking at electrons. This is just the ionosphere layer, and we're looking at the frequency of that layer. So in other words, the F2 layer would be yellow, and the F nothing layer would be red. Let's look at what's going on above my head. If you're up before dawn, you may get a great view of Venus and the moon. A waning crescent, actually. So also Mars, very bright. It's the closest pass we'll have to Mars until, I believe, the year 2035. Here's where stuff is in the solar system. And you'll see great images of Mars all over the internet if you go have a look. That's where things will be in a week. And again, an earthquake lull has been going on here. And earthquakes are nothing to lull about. They're probably the deadliest natural disaster that regularly happens. There's a deep quake at Bolivia, and a deep quake at Alaska as well. Neither of very large magnitudes. Here's a deep quake in the Caribbean. And about 30 minutes later, a deep quake in western South America, a common site for deep quakes. Perhaps those are predecessors to a larger quake. Small deep quake in Alaska, 4.2 magnitude deep quake in the Philippines. So a very low number of earthquakes. Volcanoes have chilled out a little bit too. Popocatépetl, volcanic ash not observed there. And Sangay exploding, flight level 220. That's a 22,000 foot ash plume. Please do not attempt to pole vault or fly your home-built ultralight aircraft over the caldera. Power outages are faring a little bit better. Congratulations to Louisiana for putting out those fires, or I guess mopping up all that water. We've got some child abduction emergencies in Texas. Arbana Diaz Laranga, white, 17 years old, 5 foot, 115 pounds, blonde with highlights, brown eyes, and mole on left knee inner side. Last seen 6:31 p.m. October 13th, 2020, in San Juan. Law enforcement officials believe the child to be in grave or immediate danger. Not something you see every day on the weather.gov map. In fact, I think that one has been called off. There we go. When I did show prep, it was still on. Lots of red flag warnings. And a bunch of high wind watches and warnings there over the northern Rockies and northern plains. Shout out to our viewers from Europe and Africa. There are your water vapor maps. A value-added service of the Smash News Network. Shout out to our farther east viewers, those of you who have amassed around the international dateline. There are your water vapor maps. Water vapor maps for the Americas are another value-added service that we typically provide. Note the Borg sphere down here. You can see the Borg sphere, and of course NASA has covered that up because NASA doesn't want you to know that there's a Borg sphere circling around Antarctica. And of course, they don't want you to know the Earth is flat either. All these truths hidden by NASA. Thank goodness for the internet to provide you sarcastic people like me. Next, looking at nullschool.net's jet streams. And we see the Indian Ocean jet streams are still blowing east to west. That's the wrong way. Here are the jets of the west. Look at that bend over the northern Pacific. There are the western jet streams. We'll let that animate. There you go. And we've got more value-added services, so don't go anywhere. We've got pressure maps here on windy.com. We'll let that advance. Maybe that'll give you some insight into your weather. Leave us a comment. Perhaps we'll even do a custom meteorology segment just for you. Maybe not. There's where we expect things to be at 2 p.m. And look at this odd high pressure system here. This is a very strange, very powerful anticyclone here. And we won't name that one after a CNN anchor, although Wolf Blitzer's been in the news. Have you heard about Wolf? Wolf has been nice and critical of Nancy Pelosi. I don't know why there's so much lightning striking around Mexico and the Caribbean, but it certainly is. Quite a bit of lightning. And some activity kicking up as we do the live stream down there. We won't look at the NASA GOES lightning mapper today. Here's the U.S. Doppler radar map. More snow falling in western Montana. Oh, man. To be on a snowboard there now would be a delight. Man, oh man. Anyway, there's what's going on in the cloud layer. Even though it's dark, we can still see it by using the NASA GOES interactive weather satellites. And we'll just zoom in on the water vapor map here and let this play. And for you new meteorologists out there, keep in mind that dry, massive air. Dry air is more massive than moist air. So this is more of like a low pressure system, and this is like a high pressure system down here. And we've basically got an atmospheric pond. And some big pressure gradients here over western Montana. The leeward side of those Rockies is featuring a drop in pressure. Yes, yes. Since nothing is good, fast, and cheap, and you may not have all three, choose two. It's up to you, folks, to Mansa, make America not suck again. By the way, if you go to our Teespring stores, you can visit all the links at smAsho.com. The Teespring stores, until the end of the month, will feature the promo code MANSA. You can save 10% on any order on Teespring. Links to it at smAsho.com, smAsho.org. And remember, since you can't have all three at once, pick two. It can either be expensive, bad, or slow. It's not going to be all three. And I'll tell you who's none of the three, our patrons, who found out long before you viewing this YouTube video, or if you're on BitChute, or on Twitch even, about Sunspot 2776. There is the screenshot of it. Thanks to our patrons, they're good, fast, and cheap. No, they're not really good, fast, or cheap. They're just good and fast, but not cheap. Please consider supporting us at patreon.com/smashamash. Just got a message from Eugene Bagashov, which I can't really handle because I'm doing a live stream. Patreon.com/smashamash. You'll get stuff first, like what I just showed you, as our patrons got the update long before you viewing this video or viewing our social media. By the way, we've got some new items here on smashamash.com/affiliate. We've dipped our tippy toe into the affiliate space. And there's going to be at least one other item up today. Today's featured item is once again the 18-stage fluoride filtering, chlorine, and micro particle filtering 18-stage shower filter. It's the Hopopro. It's high output. And we've been testing it, and it has been approved. Look for another item listed today at smashamash.com/affiliate. Again, use the promo code MANSA if you order anything from Teespring to save 10%. Thanks for being part of the Smash team. Please keep your head and arms inside the Smash plane at all times. We've got bonus features, such as the shirt that I'm wearing, which is Smasher Price My First Pandemic. Again, promo code MANSA will save you 10% on those. So visit the Teespring store. And this one is only available in black and white, but you can get it in colors also. Thanks for flying, American Smashways. Allow me, your pilot, to vanish and remind you to keep your head and arms inside the Smash plane at all times, since we've got a bonus of features. We're going to use the 193 angstroms view. We're going to show you the intensitygram and the colorized magnetogram. To show you Sunspot 2776 in all its suddenly rising glory. And again, it's pretty beefy. So, yeah, there you go. There's the current state of the fields. And here's the intensity gram. And as you can see, we've already got some umbra there. It's not as large as when I did show prep, so it's actually already degraded a bit, perhaps. But in any case, there you go. There's the data. Thanks for tuning into the Daily Space Weather. And may that solar wind be at your back, and that covidiousy absent. From your location.